Welcome to the first episode of the Superhero Fight Club, the best superhero podcast on all podcasting platforms, where we take a deep dive on superheroes and villains, talking about their abilities, powers, strengths, and weaknesses, and pop culture references. I'm your host, Eric Hines, and let's jump straight into the multiverse. So today, right, the first episode, made sure to bring in a guy I respect in film, respect in superhero world as well. Devin Dryden, shout out to you. Thank you for popping out, man. Thank you for coming. So today, over here in Superhero Fight Club, we choose one superhero, one supervillain. Obviously, you know this, right? The superhero and the supervillain that you've chosen today is Batman and Joker.
Very obscure characters. No one knows who they
I've
are.
never heard about Batman at all in my life.
Never.
So it's going to be interesting. But all jokes aside, two very popular characters, two characters that are well known, both in basically almost every story that they are together, like has to do. You can't have Batman without Joker, can't have Joker without Batman. Yeah. But without further ado, let's get into a first segment, right? Which is I like to call background information or backstory. We're gonna start off with Batman. So obviously everyone knows Batman, DC Universe, DC character, right? As far as his ability goes, I did all my research as well, right? Going into his abilities, right? So we all know Batman doesn't necessarily have any abilities. However, he's described as a great detective, the peak version of a human being, exceptional and a master of all combat, and being rich to afford all his weapons as well, right? So basically, it's not the fact, he's not your typical Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, or anyone like that. He's just a person that mastered most martial arts, I guess you could say, knows how to fight people, and is extremely rich so he can afford a bunch of stuff.
When he first came out, he was more in the tradition of characters like the Shadow or the Spirit, which were detective characters or like film noir characters. Like guys that would solve crimes and stuff like that. They weren't looking at Superman when they made him.
He's more of a relatable character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
as relatable as a billionaire.
Yeah, I mean, when you take a billionaire and you take Superman, I'm not going to be Superman. I'm closer to be Batman, even though he has way more money than me. But that's basically the ability side of it. Origin story. Very famous origin story. I have it all written down, but basically to put into short terms, right? One night, a young boy named Bruce Wayne was walking home with his parents from a film, and they were robbed at gunpoint. Bruce's parents were killed. Since that night, Bruce trained himself every day to become Gotham's protector, right? If anyone doesn't know, Gotham City is where he resorts or where he resides. So damn, double homicide. And that's basically the origin story. Since that night, Bruce trained himself every day to become Gotham's protector. However, he wanted a disguise to strike fear into the criminals. As he was thinking about that, a bat flew through his window, and that's how he got the idea of being Batman, right? So, overall, thoughts on that origin story as well?
Well, first of all, happy Halloween, Eric.
Facts. I didn't even say that. This is being recorded on Halloween, so.
Which is very apropos since we're talking about two spooky characters, Batman and the Joker. But his origin story is classic. You know what I mean? Like, everyone knows the Batman origin story. It's both a thing that can be modulated through time, where, like, and the initial origin story from I don't know what it is, like Detective Comics 20 or something. Like, his parents dying, he is sad about it as a kid, but it doesn't damage him mentally. He's just like, well, my parents died. I guess I gotta become a better man. You know what I mean? I guess I gotta make sure, like, I gotta stop crime. But then if you go forward and you look at some of the movies, or even the reboot, Year One, which came out in the 80s, like, his parents dying, like, destroys him. He goes to the Himalayas and starts kicking trees and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's a great origin story, but it's also very flexible. Like, you can do it multiple different ways, as opposed to like something like Superman's origin story, where it's like, you watch Krypton blow up again. Sometimes you see this place blow up.
Listen, when I think of Batman's origin story, it, like you said, the perfect way to describe it is literally like you said, it's classic, but at the same time, it's so unique in its own way because of the fact that you can twist it and turn it in several different ways.
Yeah, it's very
right.
valuable.
So as far as Superman's origin story goes, you know how I feel. I do enjoy it. At the same time, you do put it in a different perspective. It's like you can't really go any other way without the home planet just absolutely destroying. You can't go any other way.
It's also a thing about Batman's origin is that, like, depending on the way you do it, that depends on how Batman is tonally. No matter what happens when Uncle Ben dies in Spider-Man has to somehow twist that into being a happy guy. You know what I mean? But, like, for Batman, sometimes his parents die, and he's a really depressed version of Batman. You know what I mean? Like, as you see in the Robert Pattinson movie. Or, like, sometimes his parents died, he becomes like Adam West. You know what I mean? Things change. Like, the way it happens and the way it's treated changes the tone for Batman. That's what makes him such an interesting character. There can't really be a dark and gritty Spider-Man. No one wants that. It sucks.
I mean, Venom. That's the only case.
But that's also a different character. You know what I mean? The versions of Batman can be happy and or sad depending on what world it takes place in.
Wow. Wait. What if we did have like a nasty Spider-Man, but just without Venom?
I mean, there is, but all those books are kind of bad. Like there's Spider-Man Reign, where he's an old man and he kills Mary Jane with spider semen, and like
Oh wow.
she gets cancer and stuff. It's tough. It's real bad. It's not what you want.
Oh my god.
This is way off topic.
No, but no, it's good. It's good. It's good. That's basically his origin story as a whole. And then I went into the moral code
Right.
side of things because I was trying to find different things to like search up. So Batman's moral code, when I looked up, is to not kill any of his enemies.
Mhm.
He's kind of like one of those things like where he won't kill you, but he will torment you. Like he will break every single bone in your body.
A funny thing about his moral code, and I've told this to friends before, is his moral code isn't something that was originally built into him. Like, as I said earlier, he was based off of characters like the Spirit or the Shadow.
Mhm.
Those guys were just detectives who wore masks on their face. Like, when they found their criminals, they shot you and killed you. And if
It
you
was
go,
like done.
if you read old Batman comics, he does that. He has a gun. There's like issue where he hangs a guy outside of the Batcopter. Like,
It's tough.
when
It's-
when World War II was going on, there's issues where like him and Robin are killing Nazis with machine guns. Like, all that stuff is like, I don't know where it comes from. I think it comes from comics code and stuff like that.
Do you think as time has gone on, they've purposely made it that way, whereas he's not as gruesome as he used to be for audience purpose wise, like to like draw in different people?
Yes and no. I think yes. Like in the 40s and 50s and 60s, when you have a guy wearing like a blue costume who's stabbing people. Well, he wasn't stabbing anybody, but shooting people. Like that's a little crazy. But I also think like after a while they had him stop killing people because if Batman killed his villains,
There's no
Batman
one
would be
left.
done, bro.
Yeah.
Like he would murder the Joker and then we'd be done. It would be like 50 years of peace. 'Cause that guy would be dead.
Yeah, it
You know
would
what I mean?
never amount to anything
So,
else.
so they're probably like, we gotta make sure he has a moral code so we can keep selling these books.
Definitely. I hear a lot now. Granted, it's a little bit different
Mhm.
when it comes to like this conversation because we're realistically just talking about moral code, I guess you could say.
Right.
But I hear a lot of people always complain how some things aren't as gruesome, some things aren't as gruesome as they should be.
Mm.
But then like at the same time, it's a little bit of that's down a different alleyway, more like towards like film.
Right.
Like when we're talking about like if the movie itself is gruesome and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
speaking of that, right, I'm gonna warn you now because you're gonna get irritated. So
Here we go.
I'm gonna warn you. When I'm gonna have a background information. I'm not there just yet, but I'm gonna be talking about appearances for Batman.
That's fine.
I did not incorporate animated films. But here's my reasoning. Right? There is way too
There is
many.
way too many.
Like I had to narrow it down, and the only way I was gonna narrow it down was live action. But like if I did live action and animated, we'd actually be here for like at least 5 hours talking about the same thing over.
Can
and
we do
over.
this? Can we
What?
do you talk about live action appearances and then I'll do a quick little thing about Batman and animation.
Hey, that's what this is for. We're supposed to talk about it at the end of the
Alright,
day. So
okay,
like
okay.
when I get there, if you want to say something, you can say
Alright,
something.
yeah.
But I know you're not animated guru, but like you love animated things. So it's like I just wanted to warn you from now. I
Okay.
forgot to tell you before we
All
started.
right. Okay.
But either way, right? So the next thing I have right here is Batman's motivation, right? Why does he do what he does? And what I got was his motivation is to keep Gotham safe, because he never wants what happened to him at a young age to happen to anybody else,
Right.
right? So basically, all the motivation comes from the fact that his parents were killed because Gotham was in a safe place. And at the end of the day, now he is the protector of Gotham,
Yeah.
right? So pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Anything?
I mean, the only thing that's interesting is once again, like at the beginning of his history, if I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure like the motivation wasn't exactly so this never happens to anybody else. I think it was just because like I'm rich. Maybe I'm scared of bats. Maybe I should dress up like a Batman and protect Gotham against crime. You know what I mean? It wasn't as deep as like no child should be able to walk down an alley and watch his parents die. You
True.
know what I mean? Like that's all stuff that like, and that's important with all these characters. If you go back and read the really original stuff of them, it's all very barren. And then like through the years, because Batman's like, what is he like 80?
I don't even know at this point.
He's gotta be
Well,
like
I'm gonna tell you when he first appeared. I will tell you that much. So
sick.
you will be able to know. But like once you're done, actually, I think that's the next thing.
since then, they've added so much stuff to his origin, so much stuff to his past, to his personality, stuff like that. All this stuff does build upon each other. So, in a way, that is how we get the more developed version of Batman we have now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, do you want to guess when he first appeared?
1937.
Wow.
Am
You're
I-
very close.
What is it?
His first appearance was in May 1939
Yo, he's old.
in Detective Comics number 27.
Put my guy in a retirement home.
Yo, 1930. What's the math on that? Hold on. What's the math on that? We're in 2023, about to be in 2024.
Are you good at math?
1939.
Damn.
84 years old.
84 years old is crazy. He's about to be 90.
He's literally on a cane. And then ready, that goes into my next thing. The amount of movies, live action wise, that Batman's been in,
Yeah.
he's appeared in 15.
15. Because live action
15.
15
Now,
is wild, but you also have to take into consideration those are major films.
it's true, but when I say appeared, I don't just mean Batman movies by itself.
Right.
I'm talking about
Justice League and
like
stuff like that.
yeah, so 15 times.
That's a lot.
Like this guy, the amount of regens that we've had, the amount of different Batmans that we had, and he's the character itself is literally 84 years old. At what point? Ready? I got a big question. Big question.
Okay.
At what point do we just say leave it alone?
I was just about to ask you whenever they make a new Batman movie, you're like, let's go.
I'm gonna be honest, right? I'm more of a Marvel guy first and foremost, but like superhero wise, if I see a Batman movie, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like for example, when the Robert Pattinson one was out, I was like, all right. I didn't see it at first, but when I first had heard it was coming out, I'm like, okay, cool. There's another Batman movie. We'll see another one in like 5 years. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's just how it works. But when I watched the Robert Pattinson one, I enjoyed it a lot. I think it was somewhat needed just to bring a little bit more life back to the Batman character as a whole.
Right.
But when I hear the next regen of this, I'm kind of just like,
Because the Robert Pattinson one, they are making another Batman for their new universe. After the Superman
oh my
movie,
God.
They're
It's
gonna
like,
have another one.
I have to be honest, like it after a while, it's annoying because it's like, how many times are you gonna mess up before we get it right?
I think other than like, I can obviously go into a whole tangent about what superhero movies mean for film and all that and culture and stuff like that.
Wait, sum it up in like 5 words.
In 5 words, I can't.
Superhero movies are bad for film. Like,
I say this to him all the time. He's probably tired of me talking about it. Basically, it's a whole medium. It's tough to just have these movies come out and half of them are not great. But when it comes specifically to something like a Batman, it's like there are a million DC characters, and it is crazy that you're just going to use the same guy over and over again. But he also is, and I don't know if we've talked about this yet, Batman is certified box office. Like the reason why they use him so much is because his comics sell the most, his video games sell the most, his T-shirts, his TV
video
shows,
games definitely do.
they do, and all that stuff is good. But eventually, there has to be a tipping point where people are like, I'm tired of seeing fucking Batman, bro.
See, and you know what's crazy though? I guarantee you we can find other DC characters that are almost just as old as Batman, but haven't gotten nearly as much screen time as he has. I'm not gonna go into it right now, but it's like it's just crazy to think about it because like 84 years old, and we've seen so much. But then you could look at someone that's probably like what 79 years old, and you haven't seen nearly enough of what it should be.
The reason why people still put up with him and like seeing him so much is because I was talking about earlier. He's a very malleable character. You can change him. You can sometimes make him a fun character, a very serious character. You know what I mean? You can make him younger, older. Like some of these characters, they don't have the personality and they're not flexible like that. Like Aquaman isn't that flexible. Wonder Woman is not that flexible.
But the thing is, just because they're not that flexible doesn't mean that you can't make it amazing though.
That's true. That's fair.
Because granted, Batman's flexible, but let's be real. Almost every single Batman that's been out, like live action wise, is somewhat of the same thing, just in a slightly different way. But if it was so amazing, if it's so flexible, every single movie should hit different.
You're right, but Batman has this perfect convergence of like, because he's a real character, it's not going to cost you $300 million to make a Batman movie, and at the same time, he's the most grounded of all the characters. Like if you want to make a new like, I don't know, name a random DC character.
Flash.
Flash is he's an expensive character. You have to have speed on camera. You have to show that, as we've seen from those Ezra Miller movies. It's hard to make speed look good.
The babies.
The babies. You have to see what villains he has. All of his villains are dressed in a way where you have to completely change their design, or you have to put it on screen. And I like the way Flash villains look. They look goofy as hell in real life. Like they're just dudes dressed in bright purple and green sometimes. You know what I mean? So there's just like so many hurdles you have to go over. Whereas for Batman, it's like the Penguin can just be a mobster, the Killer Croc can just be a guy with spots, and we don't even have to touch Clayface. We don't even have to do that.
Joker.
It's just a guy with face paint.
Yeah, just for
and
guy
a really
face
good
paint.
performance.
The amount of TV series Batman has appeared in, I actually had that as well. Apparently, most of them are obviously animated,
Yeah,
but apparently there's 33 of them.
33 is crazy.
So if you do 33 plus 15 is 48.
48. And,
So that's 48.
and that's not including the probably at 100 number of movies he's appeared in, just those like direct-to-DVD movies that DC makes.
Probably.
Those are in the those got to be in the 60s or 70s of those.
I understand he's marketable, but dang.
I know it.
Like, how long? How
but-
long do we do this for?
And we'll get more into this when we get into the animated stuff. But to get into the animated stuff, in the
Let's go-
60s,
go ahead, go ahead.
there was a show called Batman that was like the Adam West one, the campy one. And that show was a really big hit. And I don't know how many seasons that show is, but people, that's what they thought Batman was, because not everyone was reading those comics. So they just see the TV show and he's the dude who's doing dances, and him and Robin are in the stupid Batmobile and stuff like that. In the 80s, they made a Batman movie called just Batman, directed by Tim Burton. I think it was his third movie, even before he did Edward Scissorhands or anything like that. And that it was a darker is, relative, but it was like a darker movie. Like Batman wore all black. That's the suit where like, it's the Michael Keaton suit.
Mhm.
Like he can't move his neck, but he looks awesome. Off of that movie, they made a lot more Batman movies. But before then, they commissioned a cartoon show, and that was Batman the Animated Series. Batman the Animated Series, and this is going to get a little veer off topic,
Mm-hmm.
is one of the main things that saved American animation. Like,
Really?
because before it, Batman the Animated Series, American animation, specifically in the 80s, was really tough.
Now I have to ask you, right? Is this in your head? Is this fact based or is this opinion based?
It's a mixture of both.
Okay.
It's opinion in that, like, that is the only thing that saved American animation, because there was definitely stuff like The Simpsons that came out in the 80s
Mm-hmm.
and other stuff like that was like coming out that made people actually watch cartoons. But it's fact based in that, like, if you go and watch specifically kids cartoons from the 80s and 70s, they were in hell. Batman the Animated Series was a very important show, like for kids, and also the revitalization of Batman as a character. The movie, the 80s movie, did a lot to make people realize that Batman as a character was serious and that Joker as a character is serious, because he's the villain of that 80s Batman movie. But the TV show brought people like Two-Face, they brought people like Poison Ivy. The origin of Mr. Freeze, the one that you know, where he's trying to get medication for his wife to get her out of the block of ice, that
Mhm.
is made completely out from the show.
Wow.
Before that, in the comics, he was just a guy with an ice gun, like, I'm Mr. Freeze. the cartoon show was the one that was like, let's make him a tragic character that's kind of sad. You know what I mean?
They gave him a different origin story.
They gave him a different origin story, and the one that usually everyone like goes with. Same thing with Clayface, because Clayface was just a guy made out of clay who robbed banks.
Mm.
Like the TV show was like he was an actor, and then he got on these drugs that melted him and all this stuff. So the show is a very important part of Batman's legacy, and for me, that's the best of Batman.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that it actually saved American animation, or do you think it saved Batman's character?
No, because like even
Or
if-
not Batman's character, Batman, not franchise, but like I'm basically taking Clayface, taking Mr. Freeze, putting them in one because they all, if there's no Batman, there's none other.
Right. To be honest, like the late 80s, 90s was a good place for Batman anyway. Just because like you had stuff like Dark Knight Returns. That's the one where Batman's old and he has to fight like the old Joker and the mutant gang and all that
Mhm.
stuff. Like that's a very important book. There was stuff like the 80s movie. There was a lot of other stuff, not just the cartoon show. But like it definitely helped. You know what I mean? And then of course, after Batman the Animated Series, a lot of people were like, oh, we can actually make cartoon shows for kids that aren't stupid. You know what I mean? All you need to know from that is that the animated series is very important. The animated series bred Batman Beyond, which is my favorite show of all time. I know I say a lot of stuff about superhero stuff. Batman Beyond is my shit.
All right, so wait, so we're gonna say, oh, stop huge superheroes, stop this, stop that. But your favorite thing of all time is to do with a superhero.
Yeah, because it ran its course and it ended.
What? What? That doesn't make any.
It knew when to stop. I like Batman Beyond. It's my favorite show.
Awesome.
I like it because it's future Batman, and I like the premise of it is that it's about Terry McGinnis, who's a teenager from the future, who kind of acts like an edgy Peter Parker, and he finds old Bruce Wayne, and he steals one of his futuristic suits, and he becomes the Batman of the future. I love that.
Ooh,
show.
I gotta watch that. That sounds
Great
really
shit.
good.
It's goated. So like Terry will be going on missions and he'll have Bruce in his ear telling him how to do things. You know what I mean? So it's a really good show. And also, animated series also leads to stuff like the animated Justice League shows that we grew up on with Superman with the super broad shoulders and all of them look crazy. I love all that. I mean, that is the peak of like comic book storytelling outside of the comics. But to get back onto your topic of Batman, no more animation, you go.
Okay. Believe it or not, that's all of his information I have. So now we're going to go into Joker. Well, first things first, obviously another DC character.
Yes.
Simple as that. Also, going into his powers, Joker is also kind of similar to Batman. He doesn't have any powers. However, his insanity drives him to do the crazy things that he does. Joker's superpower is the fact that he's just insane.
Right.
That's literally it. So the origin story of Joker, where I researched, it says that he was once a criminal named Red Hood running away from Batman and fell into acid while trying to escape Batman. And when he emerged, he came out with green hair and corpse white skin. So that's where you get the face paint from, but realistically, that's meant to be a skin as a whole. That's the origin story of how Joker and Batman. Joker was already a villain, and then it just became 10 times worse than what it already was.
Yeah.
The Joker's moral code, right? We went to moral code for Batman. I researched it, and it said that his moral code was moral nihilism. I don't know if I'm saying that right or not.
Nihilism?
Nihilism, right?
Yeah.
Which means that he doesn't believe in right or wrong,
Right.
right? So I was going to go into it, but I obviously I didn't know if I was pronouncing it right. Basically, to make it a little bit more simple, this is what makes Joker what he is. There's no right and there's no wrong, so he's just taking everything. Like, he's the type of person that will go into an argument with you about something, and then he'll prove you right, and then he'll be like, yeah, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's like, what was the point of arguing? He's like,
probably shoot you after.
and then he's like, I'm just going to shoot you in the face now. And it's like, if there's no right and no wrong, nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's where the Joker lives, just in the middle, which is the scariest part. So that's also what adds them. The goal of Joker's main drive. I researched there are obviously many different goals for the Joker, but one of the main ones that came up for me was for him to gain control by using chaos. Okay. The biggest one, obviously, you could look at the Heath Ledger film, which for me is probably one of the best depictions. Not the Heath Ledger film, but
The
like
Dark Knight.
That's what I mean. Right? The Heath Ledger, the Joker version of Heath Ledger,
Right.
during that time was the perfect example of what it was like, taking chaos and just being like, he would walk into rooms and just be like, yeah, I kind of run this now, but he wouldn't be normal like it. Like, some people would just try to show their ego or try to show their dominance. Joker would just sit there and just show how crazy he is, and then someone would follow him, and then he would take them into a certain path and then shoot you afterwards, even though you just showed so much like obedience towards him. It's just because he doesn't have right or wrong. He just doesn't care.
Right.
So that's basically what I love about it. I'll stop there. There's still more things to go into, but I'll let you with all that information I just threw on you.
I just want to say, the Joker, when he first comes out, he's a mobster with a gimmick. The first time you see him in an old 40s comic, he's not even smiling. He's like sitting at a desk, very upset, and he's like a very serious guy. The Joker, like most of these characters, when the Comics Code, which was like code that was made by parent groups. Do you know what the ESRB is for video games?
No, I don't.
Like the rating system for video games.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Sorry, I just didn't know the name for it. Like,
yeah.
E for everyone, rated. Yeah.
That is made by video game publishers, because if they didn't do it, the government would have came in and regulated them for them.
I remember reading up on that because of the fact that, like, that something had to be. That the same thing happened with movies, though.
Same thing happened in movies. Same thing. Yeah.
Because there needed to be a range.
Yeah. And what's messed up is that the comics had to do that. For some reason, I'm not sure why, but they allowed it to go to this parent group called the Comics Code Authority. So the Comics Code Authority was this little thing that was on your comic book that if it wasn't there, that means that it wasn't safe for children. So what that means is that, like,
it says same thing that I'm gonna take a long shot, but did you see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
Is that thing that they show?
Oh yeah, at the very beginning.
That little yes.
The reason they show that now is it's a joke because like at the time in the 50s it was a big deal and it ruined entire publishers. Like, millions of people lost their jobs, and like even worse happened when the Comics Code Authority came in, because when comics first came in, it was a medium for everyone, for children and adults. But then in the 80s, or the 70s, Stan Lee was like, I don't care. I'm just gonna have this Spider-Man comic where this dude does drugs and just like not have it in there. And then people are like, oh, it doesn't matter. That's crazy. But dudes lost their jobs over this. But like, there's a long way of saying that like the Joker was as a character that was a victim to that. Like, originally he was a very violent mobster character who was a clown but didn't take himself as a clown that seriously. Then the Comics Code hit, and the reason why superhero comics are such a big medium of comics, other than the fact that people like them is also because all the other genres of comics are way too violent. So detective comics, pirate comics, romance comics, all that had to go because they were too crazy. But Batman can still stay, but they had to change him. So Joker is just a goofy character. Like he's like the character from the '60s show who just laughs and like shoots water guns at you and stuff like that. Then in the '80s, after a while they stopped using because he's like, who likes the Joker? He sucks. And then like in the '70s and '80s, writers came back and was like, what if we actually take him seriously? So you get stories like Joker's 5-Way Revenge or like Laughing Fish, where he would poison fish and then give it to people, and then people would eat it and die, or he'd poison a river and stuff like that. This is the beginnings of like the Joker we kind of know. And then you get in the '80s and like he's killing Robins and shooting Barbara in the spine. It's getting crazy.
That character, when it comes to villains, for me, it's gotta be like top 5 at least.
He's also like the thing I was talking about earlier when it was like these characters go through time and they change through time. No character has probably benefited more from that than the Joker. Because initially, once again, he's just a regular crime character. But now in the modern day, he's this kind of epic character where it's Heath Ledger can go and have his version, which is like an Oscar-nominated version, and Joaquin Phoenix can go make his version. And it's based off this character that, like, on the page is kind of flat because of what he's gone through years of change and all that stuff. He could become more. So, yeah.
The last couple of things I want to go into on the Joker. The next Joker will be in, according to what I found. It's obviously rumored, but I don't know if it's gonna happen or not. There's supposed to be a Joker 2, and it's set to release October 4th, 2024.
Yeah, that's the musical.
Yeah.
You gonna watch it?
I'm sorry, really quick. Say what it was again.
Joker. What is it called? Folie à Deux? Right?
No. But like, what type of movie it was?
It's like a musical.
No.
What?
There's your answer.
Come on,
I'm not watching
Eric.
a musical.
Eric.
Why am I watching a musical version of a guy that kills people?
Eric.
It makes no sense.
But Eric,
like, what's the point?
Eric.
Oh
come
my
on.
God.
Eric,
No,
you can't
because
fight for these movies and then not support
no,
the ones that are actually trying to
no.
do some cool shit.
No. See, hear me out. Because the first Joker, the Joker, it wasn't bad, but I wanted him to go crazy. I wanted to see him. It was his own movie. It was a standalone movie.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see him literally wreak havoc. And I just saw him I saw his story.
That's his origin story.
But the thing is, his origin story was actually cool. It was decent. Like I enjoyed it. But like I just wish there was more. They just left me with like at the end of it all, I was like, dang. I'm like, this guy's just riding outside of a freaking cop car. I'm like, well, okay.
As a person who your audience may kill me, who doesn't really like that first Joker movie, I think it's crazy that they're like, we're gonna make it a musical. I'm like, let's go.
No,
let's do some crazy shit.
Oh my God!
Lady Gaga's gonna be in it.
Let's
go.
She should be like Poker Face. She should be singing Poker Face.
Yes.
Oh my God!
I'm so ready for it.
I think
Lady
it's just like
Gaga.
I don't understand. I listen. I'm never a person that knocks something before I try it. I've watched musicals before, and I've watched Joker before.
Yeah.
Right. You take those two things. Musicals usually either drama, somewhat horror in a sense, right? You could like not horror, but like
comedy music.
Phantom of the Opera. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that, right? And then you could also have like you said comedy or like just interesting stories. But like
all these things that the Joker is.
How is I'm just not gonna be able to take serious. Like Joker's gonna be in the middle of killing someone and he's just pause for a song. Yeah. How is that gonna work? So that's that. And then information wise, I'm gonna let you guess beforehand.
Okay.
When do you think you did well with Batman? When do you think the Joker's first appearance came?
That's got to be like 1941.
Dude,
what?
You're good. You're close. It's 1940.
That early?
See, this is why I'm glad you was able to come on. Cause like real talk, like that's amazing. 1941. You was like 1940. What do you do? Study this stuff? Like what the heck? You just like sit at your home and it's like, when did this happen? Like
it's just old characters.
Oh my gosh, man. I'm not gonna do the math right now, but Joker's probably what?
Well, Batman's 39, he's 84. That means Joker's got to be 83, right?
83, wow. Batman's big bro.
He's big bro.
It's crazy. Joker has made 9 movie appearances, live action, I'm speaking of.
That's fine.
Right.
That's fine.
And then the current storyline of Joker in the comics is he's pregnant from the spell.
So you won't watch the musical, but you let that slide?
No, I'm not.
Like
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything.
That sound like...
With that being said, I finally go into my second segment. Now, granted, we have this and then one more to go, and then I'll conclude it all. We'll be good, right? The reason someone's probably confused, they're like, why are they rushing through it? It's only because you didn't hear half what we was just talking about, but we went on a whole tantrum. So don't worry about it. But we're getting through it. We're getting
Some
through
really good Five Nights at Freddy's talk.
it. This next time is basically introducing the guests. Whereas I just kind of like hone in on you. I ask you questions because you pick these characters in general.
Right.
So first of all, obviously Devin Dryden.
Hi.
Thank you for coming. I'm gonna put on the applause just because.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dev. Shout out to Dev.
That's nice.
Thank you. Thank you. To start off, give me any fun fact about yourself.
Any fun fact?
Any
about
fun
myself?
fact.
Any fun fact? My car has had the check engine light permanently on for the last 2 years, and I just drive it.
Is it used? If you don't mind me asking.
It is used.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. But hey, it drives
It does drive exactly,
and it
drives,
works.
So we're good.
It
All
I
right,
mean, one day it might break down, but
but not today.
exact. Oh my god! If you go outside, I actually be so upset.
I would start crying.
like no. But hey, that's a good fun fact. That's a good fact.
My other fun fact: I'm graduating this semester.
Ooh,
I'm-
yeah.
Old man on campus.
Yay.
Yay.
How old are you? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I wasn't gonna do it.
Sorry.
It's a go. But really quick, another thing, just so the audience can learn who you are. If you want to give like your little like work or school back, whatever it is, whatever you've done, just give a background about yourself so people get to know who you are.
With Eric, I go to Malloy. I'm in the communications department. I work at Home Depot.
Why did you choose these characters?
Well, these are just the most obscure DC characters. I just really wanted on the flex that I know about the really deep kid. No, because like.
Quick flex.
It's easy, and it's also like there's that thing I was saying earlier. Like Batman's a very flexible character, and even though like me and you are like we are kind of tired of him, but I feel like he's been a pretty big character since the '80s. You know what I mean? Like he's kind of maintained that for a long time. So it's really interesting that a character can do that. Because like as much as we love Spider-Man, they've been doing a lot of Spider-Man the last couple of years. I feel like Spider-Man may burn out faster than Batman. Like
No,
you don't think so?
because the multiverse.
That's true.
The thing
Kill
is
me,
though,
multiverse.
if they don't do it right, it'll burn out quicker than you could ever imagine.
Right.
Like if after a while it's just gonna become there's a new Spider-Man, there's a new Spider-Man, blah, blah. You know what I
Right.
mean? But if they do it the right way, you just won't get tired of it. For example, the new Spider-Man game, but watched it on a playthrough on YouTube. At the end, perfect. Next question I would ask you is your favorite Batman, and what I mean by that is not the different versions like you were saying animated wise.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to do that, you can.
Mhm.
You can do both. But your favorite actor that played Batman and why?
I'll
Who was
an-
the best Batman?
I'll answer both questions. I'll say I like Terry McGinnis from Batman Beyond. That's my favorite
Mm-hmm.
Batman in general. My favorite actor to play Batman is a toss-up because I
Be
think
careful.
Be careful. Why? Because if I say Ben Affleck, you'll go crazy.
I swear if you say that. Nah, because I've heard too much of, shout out to Chris, but I've heard too much of Chris Camacho being like, Ben Affleck is an amazing Batman. I'm like,
No, Ben Affleck is a great actor, and I think like in BVS, him himself would have been a very interesting movie. But unfortunately, by Ben Affleck, he's never in anything quality. So as good as he is, we can't do that. And then by the time you get to like the Justice League movie, like my guy isn't even buffed up anymore. You know, my guy Ben Affleck's been drinking.
why are we laughing about that? No.
My favorite version of Batman is the Michael Keaton Batman. Even though he can't move his neck, it's got that Evil Dead mix where it's like it's very serious, but it's also very goofy. Like he has a Batmobile that's basically a rocket on wheels, and he can't move his neck. But he also murders all of his villains
Without moving his neck.
without moving his neck. But it's also a thing of like you see his villains and you're like, yeah, but you gotta kill him. Like when you see the Joker in this movie, that guy's gotta be put off the earth. So I get it. You know what I mean? I also just thought he looked really cool in the all black suit with the yellow emblem. But obviously for the best movies, it is the Christian Bale.
Wait, hold on. That's a question. Don't go there. Don't go there.
I'm sorry.
You better go there. I was gonna say my favorite Batman is Christian Bale.
Of course.
So
That's good.
what do you mean? Of course. What does that mean?
That just means that like a lot of people like Christian Bale.
Okay,
That's
okay.
fine.
I thought you was like putting me in the category again and be like,
no.
But what's it called? Now I go into your favorite Batman movie and why.
As much as I think Batman Returns is my favorite movie, I think The Dark Knight is the best Batman movie. I can rewatch it anytime.
Yeah.
It's extremely rewatchable. Even though I like Michael Keaton more personally, Christian Bale is just like not a better actor, but he just gets it more. Like that entire world is better. It's this perfect mixture between like realistic, but not like crazy realistic. Like I like the Robert Pattinson movies, but a part of me is like, damn, bro, like he really just driving like a muscle car. Like the Christian Bale movie's like, nah, you got money, bro. You're driving
No,
a tank.
Yeah, he
Your
was.
tank explodes. You get a little pod. It's good. It's good stuff.
That movie was great. That
Dark
movie
Knight
was
is
great. Favorite Batman video game and why?
I've played Lego Batman the most. I like Arkham City.
That's fair
Arkham
enough.
City is very good, but I've played Lego Batman the most. Second is Arkham City. Third is Batman Begins on the Game Boy Advance.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. If I had to pick my favorite Batman game, and this is gonna sound stupid, but I'm gonna say it anyways. It's the one that's on the DS, the Lego one.
That's
Lego
the
Batman.
exact one.
Yeah, like
one's
that
good.
one
That's
is
good.
nostalgic. That game was legendary for me. Favorite Batman comic, if you could think of one.
I really like Batman Year One. That's the reboot of Batman, where from the '80s by Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli. It's 4 issues, so it's short. It's great. I love it. And the art is just great. I love Year One. It's a great retelling of Batman's origin story, and it looks like Taxi Driver. It's a great book.
Or what do you think was the biggest Batman fails? Like, what was the worst things that they did with Batman?
As a franchise?
Yeah.
Um,
Whoa, all right, Jason.
that was the Jason thing. I didn't even think about that. That's crazy. Damn. It's Nightfall. You know what Nightfall is?
Yeah, I know what Nightfall is.
Okay, the storyline where Bane breaks Batman's back. I don't like it just because it is a great idea for a story, but then it goes on for 2 years in real time. Like, if you were to buy the actual books of Nightfall, it's Bible size.
And that's okay. I'm not reading that much.
And then you read inside of it, it's just like Commissioner Gordon be like, Batman's gone. He's just really sad.
No, man.
It's just ass.
I got 3 more for you. Oh, man. I'm sorry in advance.
Let's go.
Favorite Batman villain?
Oh, man, this is actually difficult. I like the Penguin. He's a funny
Penguin?
guy. He's a funny guy.
The Penguin?
Yeah, man.
All
The
right.
Penguin. He's funny.
All right.
Riddler second.
Favorite Batman slogan?
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Are you for real?
I'm not wearing hockey pads. This is a real thing.
You're just so different. You know that? Like, you're so different. Like, I was expecting at least something like extremely iconic. I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Legitimately, every time I see Batman, whether it be in real life, like a poster, or if I see him in a movie, in my mind, I always like hockey pads. I love it, bro. That's my favorite line from him. Bro.
Oh,
It's
man.
So funny.
And my last thing, before we move on to the last segment, I've been requested by the fans,
Okay.
even though this is episode 1.
You got a lot of fan.
I got a lot of fan love.
They're from your sports podcast.
They thought it would be great since you picked Batman.
Right.
You could just sing the Batman theme song.
Sing the Batman theme song. There's a lot of Batman.
There's a lot of Batman theme songs.
Nah, bro. I'm gonna do the Christian Bale one.
Let's see.
That's it. That's all that did.
Wait, no. I'm sorry. Can you just do it one more time? I'm just gonna turn you up really quick.
For 10 minutes.
Oh my god, I love this.
There
Oh my
was one
gosh.
time I was in my car with him and I blasted the Batman Begins theme in my car and the entire car shook because it's just
Amazing.
noise.
Amazing. Just that was amazing. I appreciate that. No, that's a good sport. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Now that ends our second segment. Now we're gonna go into our third segment, our last segment.
All right.
We've made it. I gotta test your knowledge.
All right.
I got to test your knowledge. So the next segment is a trivia game,
This is great. I'm not a competitive person at all, so I will lose this.
but I will have you know, you are the first on the podcast. So you're setting the bar as far as trivia goes.
All right.
There's 10 questions.
I'm prepared.
5 Batman, 5 Joker.
Okay.
How many do you think you're gonna get off rip? Out of 10.
You know what? Just to make it funny, I'm gonna say I'm gonna get all of them because when I don't, it'll be really funny.
Okay. Talking big game.
Can I call a friend?
I'll let you call a friend.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
I'll let you call a
nice,
friend.
Nice.
I'll let you call a friend. 1 through 10. You don't have multiple choice.
All right. Okay.
So I
It's a
apologize.
short answer.
I will be lenient though. So like since the fact that you don't have multiple choice, if you're close enough, if I think I could give it to you, I'm gonna give it to you. Fair enough?
This is nice teacher talk here.
All right.
It's in your
Fair-
future.
No, don't do that. No, don't do that. Because then I have to go to graduate school. I'm not doing that. That's too much money. So number 1 is who played the first Batman in the first live action Batman movie?
Is it
We talked about this. We did.
It's like Douglas something.
Final answer?
No.
No. Okay.
Yes. Douglas something.
Douglas something.
Yes.
That is your final answer.
You're right. Yeah.
I did say I would be lenient. So it's wrong. It's
Damn.
actually Lewis Wilson.
Lewis Wilson.
So
Boring ass. I was supposed to remember that name, bro. What?
so,
That's not fun.
so
Lewis Wilson.
Your 10 for 10 isn't looking good already as it is. But we'll go to number 2. I made these like fair, like some are hard, some are not hard.
Mhm.
Like for example, number 2, what city does Batman operate in?
Obviously, Metropolis. It's
Final answer?
Gotham. It's Gotham.
All right, Gotham City, you got it correct. All right, that's 1 for 2. Number 3, what is the name of the place that Batman lives in? I have 2 answers for this,
All right.
but you can give me just one.
Of the 2, Wayne Manor and the Batcave.
Should I? You know, you've gotten that. I'm not going to give you extra points for that, but that was really good. Yes, it was
All right.
that too. But I think the real reason I'm not going to give you extra points because I think that was obvious.
Yeah. That's
But
fair. That's fair.
number 4, what is Batman's real identity?
Bruce Wayne.
There it is. And number 5, who is the most recent live action Batman?
That is Robert Pattinson.
Yes, it is.
Okay,
So you 4 for 5.
Okay.
Very
all right,
good.
okay.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
Fucking Lewis Wilson.
All right. All right. Number 6. Who is Joker's main love interest?
Harley Quinn. Even though that's
Final answer.
himself.
Final answer.
What can I put? Can I put down both?
No,
Okay, it's Harley Quinn.
that's incorrect.
Oh no!
It's actually Wonder Woman.
Joker.
I'm kidding. It's Harley Quinn. It's Harley Quinn. It's oh my gosh.
Yeah, you got me with that.
It's Harley Quinn. It's Harley Quinn.
But himself is also there. You
I
know, he
should
does like
no.
himself.
It was gonna be Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
But I did like the fact that you thought of something else. I should have just kept along with it. I should be like, yeah, it's Wonder Woman, a different comic series.
You should have been like, it's Aquaman.
Oh my gosh. All right, number 7. Who played the Joker in the 2019 film?
The 2019 film, that's Joaquin Phoenix. Yes, that's yes.
That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. Well done.
Look, the Justice League movie with Jared Leto, the stupid 4-hour version came out. I would have thought you were talking about that.
All right, this one's a little difficult. How many actors have played Joker?
In live action? Okay, Cesar Romero, Michael Keaton. Cesar Romero, Jack
Michael Keaton?
No.
Is that your final answer?
No. Cesar Romero, Jack Nicholson. I gotta stop doing the Jason.
He said, that was mad weird.
Cesar Romero, Jack Nicholson. Is there one before Heath Ledger? No, I guess not. So Heath Ledger.
Is there?
I don't think so.
Are you sure?
Yes. Jared Leto, Joaquin Phoenix. So that's 5. And then Cameron Monaghan plays him in the Gotham show. So that's 6.
Final answer?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Positive.
Yes.
It's incorrect.
It's incorrect?
No, I'm lying. It's correct. You got
Look
it.
at you. You're acting like Cat now, bro.
Hey, don't do that. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Nah. You've only got one wrong. Shout out Lewis Wilson. The next 2 I think are easy. 9, what colors does the Joker wear?
Green and purple.
Awesome.
Little
And number 10, what is the Joker's famous quote?
Why so serious?
Pick a different one.
How did I get these scars? Do you want to know how I got these scars?
There you go.
Hey,
All right. I was lenient. I should
Look
have
at
just
you.
marked it wrong.
Look at the phrasing, man.
But you got 9 out of 10. So wait, hold on. Let me.
Yeah.
Congratulations, 9 out of 10.
Who knows about Lewis Wilson? I don't want to hear it, bro.
Apparently you don't. But okay.
I want to see you go back and watch the black and white serial with the guy with the floppy Batman ears, because I know how it looks. It looks like butt cheeks.
But back then it was amazing. No, but that concludes. I'm gonna put the claps again because that literally concludes our first episode of Superhero
Yay.
Fat Club. Sorry guys. Hold on.
Yay!
Okay,
Yay.
no, it's not there yet. Hold on. Now it's there. That concludes the first episode of Superhero Fight Club. I just want to say thank you to Devin for
you
showing
for
out
having me.
again.
This
We
is a great
appreciate you
podcast.
guys. First episode, history. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hopefully many more to come.
Of course.
Um,
You better
I
cut
s-
me in on those Spotify checks.
huh? Oh,
You said again.
Spotify tag. What?
Spotify checks.
Oh, I'm not making money.
What are you talking about?
What's it called? Make sure you follow this podcast on Spotify and Apple Music and subscribe on YouTube. Thank you for our guest, Devin Dryden, again for joining us. Is there anything that you want to say before you?
I just want to say thank you for having me. Thank you for the Malloy Media Department for allowing
Definitely.
this podcast to happen. And yeah, no one knows who Lewis Wilson is.
Everyone knows who Lewis Wilson is. But that's all, folks. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll catch you at the next superhero fight.
Happy Halloween.